Okay guys, here's my last group I'm going to shoot. And I know a lot of you hate this term, these words, but this is after the break-in process outlined by the gun manufacturer. These are my 3 shots after completing that. So I'm going to do some analysis for you after I take these 3 shots, and you'll hear what my analysis is of the break-in, what I think about the break-in. So let's go. Turn the parallax to the right distance. Okay, there we go. Last 3 shots. I'll give you a summary in a minute after the break-in process, what happened to this gun. Speed, accuracy wise. We'll talk about that later. Next up, Savage 110. Okay guys, Savage 10 110 Trail Hunter after break-in process. Sorry, don't freak out. The break-in that's recommended by Savage. We're gonna shoot it and see what results we come up with based on our prior shooting. So we're gonna do a comparative of the different shots through the break-in process. So here we go. Wow, really good group. Cool. All right. We're going to talk about some of the results now. Okay, my friends, you can see the Savage 110 Trail Hunter still up here. Just got done shooting it. Just also got done shooting that Ruger American Gen 2. This gun's in a 7mm Remington Magnum, and then that's in a 308. So I went to their web page, and I've got some notes here, and I followed their break-in process. Ruger doesn't really mention one, but Savage does. And keep in mind, each one of these barrels are created differently. If I'm not mistaken, the Ruger goes through a hammer forge, a cold hammer forge process, the Ruger does, and the Savage uses button rifling. You can look up the differences between those two, but one essentially is taking a blank, putting a mandrel in it and smashing it into shape and smashing the riflings into there. The other process is button rifling, is dragging one pass of a tool through the barrel that carves the riflings into it. Savage recommends a break-in process. They say kind of do what you want, but here's what we recommend. So we followed their recommendations a little bit. Here's what I did is I used the break-in process to sight in my gun. So I shot 1 round and cleaned both guns for 5 shots. So shot around clean for 5 times. Then I shot 5 rounds and cleaned. So shot 5 in a row, then cleaned it. Then I shot 4 groups of 3 and cleaned. So 12 shots and cleaned. So 1 shot clean for 5 rounds, 5 shot and cleaned once, and then shot 4 groups of 3 and cleaned after that. So after 12. So that was a total of 22 shots and cleaned quite a few times during that period of time. And here are the results that I came up with using that break-in process. One is there was very little impact on accuracy. There was a little bit, but I attribute that to me getting used to the gun. So the groups were about 1 to 1.5 MOA all during that break-in process, and I got them down to about 0.8 for both guns at the end of that break-in process with the very last groups you just saw me shoot after I had done that break-in. So they did improve a little bit. I attribute that mainly just to me getting used to the gun, getting used to the ammo, you know, and just practicing. So that's kind of what I attribute it to. But I can't argue that there was an improvement in accuracy. Now, the other thing that I monitored is you can see that I've got this Garmin Zero up here to track the velocity and the also the spread, you know, the velocity spread. Sorry, I'm stammering around. But the velocity spread didn't change much all during my shooting. Is I shoot a group and the standard deviation during the first sight in wasn't much different than the standard deviation of the last group I shot. So that didn't change much. However, the velocities did change. And I took breaks in between. I tried to shoot it with the cold barrel. The only thing that I could attribute that to is having bullets through the barrel and perhaps breaking it in a little bit. So I'll give you some statistics on that. Let's see. For the Savage, so right here, this Savage 150 grain bullets, my first 5 shots, the average was 28.75 feet per second. My last group of 3, the average velocity was 29.40. So an increase of 65 feet per second. I did shoot 3 more after that and they were about that same. So over the course of the break-in process, I did increase about 65 feet per second on a 3-shot group, which is greater than my standard deviation. The standard deviation was about 12 or 13. So the velocity definitely increased through the break-in. For the Ruger American Gen 2 and a 308 shooting 150 grain bullets, want to scroll through here really quickly and look. But the first 5 shots, the average was 2,644 feet per second, and the last 3 shots, the average was 2,675 feet per second. So just a slight increase, about 31 feet per second. So not as much, about half as much on the Ruger, but I'd have to figure out the percentages. The percentage of velocity increase might have been about the same. So that's the results. So slight improvement on pattern. Could be attributed to me. No improvement on standard deviation of velocity, but an increase in standard deviation. So I'd say the break-in does something. Didn't seem to improve accuracy a lot. Didn't seem to improve the standard deviation, but it did increase my velocity out of those guns. So hopefully that was helpful. I'm not a big fan of breaking in or not breaking in. By the time I go hunting, I've usually shot quite a few rounds, so I feel like my gun is broken in. But I don't know that it makes a heck of a lot of difference, to be honest with you, but that's just my summary. Now, if you read online, there's guys that are religious about breaking in a gun, and they say, you know, you need this many rounds. They're fanatics about it. There's other guys who are the best in the world that say, put a barrel on and start shooting. It doesn't make any difference. So there you have it. There's my results of going through a break-in process and what ended up happening. Hope you enjoyed the video, and it's back to this. So give me your comments about this. Breaking in a new barrel, yay or nay? Yes or no? Let me know what you think.